the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of MHO, My Humble Opinion. I am the host, Chris Neto. I am joined again today by my lovely team here. Let's start with Mike. Mike, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, Chris. How are you today?
Doing well, doing well. That is Mike Shinn, and our second and probably more, I would say, the smarter of the three, Melissa Dillman. How are you tonight?
Wow, gonna have a lot to live up there, Chris, but I'm doing great. How about you?
Hey, you can dance circles around me when it comes to HDCP, and you can pronounce it better than I can. At this point, it's all rambles. So I want to jump right into our topic of the night. The next topic in our show, as you know, the show format is short, sweet, simple. We're going right now through our Infocomm prep, so we figured this is a good time to start putting together our show with Infocomm questions. So the question of the night is, what to expect for first-timers at Infocomm? This is a hot topic. This is the people that are going for the first time, the rookies. You have your ticket, you have your show schedule, you have the register. What are you going to get when you walk into Vegas, or the show floor for that matter? Forget Vegas. Vegas is an experience in itself. So we're going to start off with Mike. Mike, what is your best advice for the first-timers at a show?
Well, number one, I think everybody needs to understand the sheer size of the convention center. It is a beast. You're going to be doing a lot of walking, so you better be wearing comfortable shoes. I would not recommend dress shoes, but come up with some kind of a black shoe that is comfortable, that you can walk literally miles in and not have calluses or sores or be completely fatigued on your feet. Number two, just some key suggestions. There's very limited time for lunch on the show floor if you're walking the show floor. What has worked out for me is just packing a backpack with some very essential items. You don't need your laptop. You don't need your heavy power supply for your laptop. You're not going to have time to open up your laptop if you're on the show floor anyway. I would make sure that you get a light backpack, that you have a couple bottles of water in, because you're going to need it. You're going to need your power supplies for your mobile devices, maybe your iPad or your Android device, as well as your cell phone. You're going to want those power supplies with you if you're actually doing the show right. And definitely some form of a USB battery, or two, in fact, depending upon how active you are on social media and keeping in touch with the email back at the office. I would definitely suggest packing a couple granola bars and maybe a banana, I don't know, something that is going to keep you sustained between breakfast and dinner, because the food at the convention center, not exactly cheap, and your per diem's probably not going to cover it. A slice of pizza could go as high as $5, and you're going to wait in line for about 35 minutes just to get that $5 slice of pizza, and then before you know it, you have to be back out on the show floor. So you definitely want to keep that in mind as well. When you hit the show floor, you got to hit the major vendors. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to hit them all on Wednesday. You could hit them Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You need to plan your schedule. You need to actually look at the schedule ahead of time. Look at where you want to go. Look at where your time is going to be spent, and plot specific blocks of time. If you have an account manager for any of those major vendors, talk to them. Book a time where you're going to meet them, but give yourself some time. You don't want to book back-to-back meetings with no break in between. It could easily take you 15 to 20 minutes to get from one booth that's located here, at point A, to get all the way to the other end of the show floor to get to appointment B. And you could very quickly find yourself either losing appointments or missing appointments or falling behind in appointments, and therefore your account manager, who has appointments booked back to back to back because they don't have to move, they have to move on from you in just a short period of time. So you definitely want to use some forward-thinking scheduling techniques to make sure that you're hitting all of them. Some of the major vendors you obviously want to hit: Crestron, Milestone, Kramer, et al. All of the bigwigs that are present on the show. You want to just swing in the booth. Even if you don't have an appointment, you want to see what are the new products, what are the new things. You set your own schedule. Make sure that you do that. Last thing is, you gotta understand the halls. You have to do your research and look at the floor plan and understand how the show is laid out so that you can best make your efforts to try and not have the moment where you have to walk 4.5 miles back and forth, between your meetings all day long. And then last, and I'll let Melissa really comment on this in the future here, is the classes are very key for a first timer. You really get to know a lot in that regard.
Good points, Mike. I think that's great. A lot of the stuff you said is well put together. I think that walking in, and I guess this is my honest opinion, walking in without a plan is the worst thing you can do. I agree 100% behind what you're saying. Sitting down to have lunch gets really tough. Grab some power bars, take them with you. Buy them when you get there. Do what you need to do to have that quick to go snack stuff in your pocket. Chances are you're probably going to be able to sit down for lunch. Excuse me, not for lunch, but for dinner, more likely. So try to have a decent breakfast before you get to the show floor. I find that to work really well. Get your coffee, get your bananas, your fruit, whatever you need to do to have that breakfast to get you through most of that day. Snack on the power bars and then go for it at dinner. Now, once you get to the show, you're going to be enamored. You're going to want, as a first-timer, you're going to run to the first booth you see in the big ones, and they're all there. The big players are right in the front. So you're going to walk right in, and boom, there is Crestron. Boom, there is Milestone. Boom, there is, Harman. I mean, these are all great companies, but you're not the only one thinking that. You're going to be one of 1,000 as you walk in. So if you don't have that appointment, fret not. My solution to it is save some of those for Fridays. I love Friday at the show. Some people may argue, oh, it's this, it's that, it's slow. I love it being slow because if I couldn't get the 5 minutes with the guy at the big guy booth early on, I can definitely spend some time with them there. The other thing I like to do is I like to take the first, half of the day and just walk and see what's out there. There's so much. If you do not grab one of the show magazines to have at least an idea of what people are putting out at that show, it's going to be daunting. It's going to be overwhelming. And there are. Trust me when I tell you that every manufacturer is going to be putting out very similar products that do very similar things. Now, you have your reps, you have your preferred manufacturers. Go see those. But don't discount the little guy that's in the back. Those guys are probably going to be taking risks that the bigger guys can't or won't at this point because they're looking at, their product and refining their product. Those guys back there are going to be playing with 8K. Those guys are going to be playing with VR. They're going to be working with stuff that the guys in the front right now are kind of think it's cool, but maybe they don't want to get into it right now. So go dig into those corners. I think you'll find some interesting stuff in the forms of maybe even some wearable stuff. IoT little things in the back that is going to make its way to those front booths in the future, either by those guys getting a bigger booth or by the bigger guys saying, hey, we got to do that same thing too. So a lot of that goes on. My other, I guess, tip for a first-timer is if you are grabbing those magazines, you'll see thousands of awards and this, that, and the other thing. Everybody wins awards. Everybody's got the great product this, product that. Look at those things and take it with a grain of salt. Be the person who you are. If you trust the product, go to your manufacturer and say, hey, what do you guys do? And how is this the product of the year? Company XYZ has it. Do you have something like that? What I'm getting at is investigate, do your research, go back to your room and check out the fine details and the stuff. You don't want to be disappointed. You don't want to go there and be completely enamored by a product, get back and realize that there was about 3 or 4 of the products in that same product category that could have done what you're looking for and may be available today while the other one's still 3 months out. So do your homework, even in the stuff that you're hunting, I think is one of the better things or better advice that I can give in my humble opinion. Melissa, what's your take for the first timers?
Well, okay, so I have a question for you there. Doesn't Infocomm have
Their own?
Their app.
Yes.
Yeah, so use the app. Get the app.
Mm-hmm. My only concern with that is, and it goes back to what Mike was saying, is when you're talking about apps and your phone, Mike knows, man, getting signal in that place is kind of weird. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're absolutely correct. Trying to get a signal can be a challenge. So unlike the other guys, I'm going to hit on a couple other things. Ladies, the heels are cute, but they're not intended for this show. Nobody's going to feel bad if they see you in flats. So by all means, save your feet. Go with them. Also, make sure that you bring a stack of business cards. Business cards are going to be important. You're going to want to exchange those back and forth with people. Make sure that you have those handy and available. The other thing is that your badge is going to be very critical. They're going to want to scan your badge at the booths. This is how we make sure that we keep track of everybody and that we can contact you later. Trust me. Remember that at the end of the week, you are going to have to pack that bag again, okay? Overweight fees are no fun. Don't collect a ton of stuff that we can mail you as manufacturers. Don't take it home with you in your luggage. It will cost you a fortune. So be cautious of what you're picking up. Know that you're going to have to pack it up at the end of the week. Exchange business cards. Go ahead and let the manufacturer scan your badge. That's really critical for them. We're spending millions of dollars at these shows. Definitely know what your goals are. Who do you want to see? Make those your targets and trust the fact that you will stray from your initial goal because it is overwhelming. Infocomm never fails to impress with all of the latest and greatest lights and signs and buzzers and bangs. So undoubtedly, you'll hit a couple of booths where you'll find loud music and scantily clad women. Please try not to stay there forever, but it's probably worth a stop by. So I understand that. And then also make sure that when you're on the floor and you're looking at those new products, ask when the product's going to ship, especially if it's brand new, and then add 30 to 60 days to that. Because we all have high hopes and the best of intentions, but by the time we all get back, there will probably be a delay. So don't go home and immediately spec it unless you are 100% that product is shipping, because that can always be a disappointment. Other than that, make sure that you are not bashful about meeting and greeting and talking to people. When you see Chris Neto on the floor, by all means, stop him. He will be more than happy to talk to you. When you see Mike, be sure you rush up and talk to him because he will stop and talk to you. It is one of the cool parts about this show. It's the networking piece of it. So to get the most out of it, I suggest that you make sure that you stop these folks and talk to them. By all means, you'll always find me in the Kramer booth. So feel free to come by and see me. The other thing I would tell the newcomers is if you see an opportunity to sit down in someone's booth, by all means, take it. And if they offer you a bottle of water, take that too. Listen to the pitch because you'll want to save your feet. My key is that I always take a couple of Excedrin every morning for whatever reason. So those are my humble opinions on first-timers attending the show and what to expect.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I guess one thing that I have to play the home card here. AVNation will be giving away chapstick. That dry heat stuff does come into play, so please grab a chapstick, and I'm sure there'll be a couple stickers at the AVNation booth that will be given away that people will be looking out for. Mike, you have anything else that you want to add to this?
I just wanted to comment real quick, Chris. You mentioned that Fridays at the show floor are slow. That's a really good point because that is when you can hit all of the mega booths that are going to be flooded for the first 2 days, as you pointed out. Yet the young and newer technology groups, they're packing up and they're heading home. So if you're going to be focusing on some new technology and that's why you're going to the show, hit those guys on Wednesday, latest Thursday morning. You really want to hit the outskirts of the show floor for that. And Crestron's going to be there no matter what until the show floor closes. So will all the other big companies. You'll be able to get plenty of face time, but really take the little guys in the back into consideration. It's not risk-free. Of course, there's always risk associated with that, but as Chris pointed out, the big boys, they're not ready to take that risk yet, and you might see something that you want to kind of follow, even if you don't adopt early, kind of follow throughout the course of the next couple of years and really keep an eye on those technologies.
That was in the back is where I saw a couple of years ago the first company that was actually sending a TV signal and power to the TV via Cat5. That to me was very interesting. Now, how that worked out, I don't know. I didn't continue following up on it, but man, it was a freaking cool product to see. You know, here it is, one box plugged in, HDMI coming in. They sent it over to Cat5, plug in the other side, the HDMI and power to the TV, and boom, there it was. It had to be an LED. Had certain things, but man, it was. I left there going, wow, that's the future of it. Our TVs are just going to have an RJ45 stuck in the back at some point.
That's where the future of technology is.
Yeah.
The only other thing I will say is, Melissa, you're going to definitely have some serious answering to do for the AV grump Harry Mead, suggesting that people should not collect swag at a show. For those of you that haven't attended...
Oh, no. I did not say don't collect swag.
I'm just simply saying...
I said don't take the catalogs.
There are certain
swag.
people,
there's always room in my bag for swag.
There are certain people that go to a show and they kind of collect the best things that the vendors are giving out, and Harry is an expert at that. At the AV Grump, for those of you that are only going to the show to collect the flashlights and the lipstick and the chapstick and the bags and what have you.
Yeah, there's always room for swag.
As opposed to, hey, I am at this, I see this cool technology. That's not Harry's thing. Harry will tweet out, oh, you've got to get to so-and-so. They're giving away a mini pocket projector. Go now. So the AV Grump is the guy you want. If you want to win stuff, that's your man right there.
He's the one to follow.
He's the one to follow when it comes to the giveaways, to the prizes, and to stuff. And then if you do miss it, at the end of the show, he will put together an excellent report of hits and misses and who had the best swag. Well, that's about all the time we have tonight. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Just going to go real quickly through. Melissa, how can people find you on the Internet?
You can find me at Melissa Dillman on Twitter, and you can find me at mdillman@kramerus.com anytime.
Mike, give him the 411.
At AXP Mike, that's at AXPMIKE on Twitter. I'm also on LinkedIn, Facebook, and every other social medium there is. And feel free to reach out at any time.
You can find me, Chris Neto, at Chris_Neto and at Chris.Neto on Snapchat. The _1 would be on Twitter. Feel free to reach out to us. Let us know what you think of the show. What are future topics? We're going to be hitting up some key points, and I'm sure you're going to be very, very interested in the follow-up to this show, which will continue on with our Infocomm series that we're running now. Thank you. Have a great night.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
This is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.